Hello, and today we're going to look at how we can use a program called 12-3D Catch to model historic buildings. 12-3D Catch is a program that's fairly new, and it comes from a company called Autodesk. They make a number of products in the 12-3D design line. 12-3D Catch allows you to upload photos that you've taken with a digital camera and turn these photos into 3D objects. When you go on the 12-3D Catch website, you'll notice that not a lot of people have been working with historic buildings and using this program. So today, the purpose of this video is to offer a little walkthrough on how you can use 12-3D Catch to build your own 3D reconstructions of historic buildings, and offer some of my own feedback after using this program for the last few weeks. Today we're visualizing the London Roundhouse at 240 Horton Street. The London Roundhouse is the only surviving roundhouse, railway roundhouse in London, and will soon be the home of Atmos Marketing and Art Traction. So this is how I took the photos for the project. Basically what you want to do is you want to take a couple steps and walk around the building taking photos at set intervals. I find it's better to overshoot than undershoot, because when you're uploading the pictures you can then choose which photos you want, so it's better to have too many than not enough at this stage. It's pretty easy. You can use a digital camera, a cell phone. If you have an iPhone, you can take the photos using the 12-3D Catch app. It's not available for Android at this time. Then once you have the photos, you can go on 12-3D Design's website and select which app you want. To use 12-3D Catch, you'll have to install a Google Chrome plugin. I've already done this. And firing up is pretty easy once you create an account. If you have a PC, you can download the program and work from there. Since I'm working on a Mac, I'm using their web-based app. I find the web app decent overall. You'll see a couple problems with it as we go through the walkthrough. But once you launch the app, it takes you into screen, and it can be a little slow, to be honest. It takes you into this screen. It offers some tips on how to take photos that will yield good 3D models and kind of best practices. In general, you want to avoid anything that's very shiny and everything that has a very regular pattern. This will confuse the stitching software. In general, most people are using 12-3D Catch for smaller objects, either kind of person-sized or below. There are a few people, however, using it for landscape photography, and that seems to be working fairly well. As you can see, here are the photos that I took of the roundhouse earlier. I'm going to upload quite a few of them. With the web app, 12-3D Catch caps you at 70 photos. But I find once you start approaching that many photos, the web app really starts to bog down. So if you can keep your photos to, let's say, 40 to 50, you'll probably be pretty successful. So once you choose the photos you want, it gives you a second to review them. And as you notice, that warning that just popped up is that my memory is running low on my computer. That's because the web app, when you're using 12-3D Catch, has the tendency to just devour virtual memory on your machine. It's been a real problem working with the app so far. And my computer, it's a 2012 MacBook Air. It's decently powerful. It's not a powerhouse by any means, but 12-3D Catch tends to run a little bit worse than I think it should. So once the photos have been selected and approved, it'll start uploading them to the cloud services that 12-3D Catch offers. This usually takes anywhere from 10 minutes to about an hour. So I've skipped that stage, and now we can go straight to reviewing the models. So before doing this, I tried to upload the program, and because the file was so big, it ended up eating all of my virtual memory, crashing my computer, and corrupting the video that I was recording, showing you this whole process. So this is my second attempt. I've decreased the video quality, or the photo quality, from high to low. This is helping make it more manageable, and I've also reduced the number of photos that I uploaded. So you really have to be careful that if you try to do anything that's too high resolution with 12-3D Catch, you may have some trouble working with it. But everything's uploaded now, and in a few seconds we should be able to see the house. It does take some time to use this program, so patience is definitely a virtue. Often when you upload a new project, it'll give you the option to keep or discard. Generally, it offers you this option before you actually see the product. Here's a fun tip. They've been having some server-side issues on 12-3D Catch. And as a result, sometimes when you upload a project, it comes back invisible when you try to view it. If you add a title, and this is after looking at the forums for quite some time, if you add a title to the program and save it, it'll make it easier for the servers to find your project, and you'll have a better success rate. So now that I've given a title to my project and I've decided to keep it, it's just uploading everything and finalizing the product. And as you can see, it does a fairly decent job of 3D reconstructing the building, especially given the fact that I just walked around it and took photos. 123D Catch is definitely the easiest 3D modeling program I've used thus far. When compared to things like Blender or SketchUp or even 123D Design, 123D Catch is a lot more accessible than your average 3D imaging program. But it does come with some caveats. It's slow, it tends to bog down. Even on a fairly competent computer, it can really drag things down. And I find that buildings are in a really strange size for 123D Catch, because people are having great success modeling smaller objects, and they're having really good success modeling large objects like landscapes. I find buildings are in this kind of uncomfortable middle ground where they're too big and have too much detail to really get a perfect reproduction. And you see that when you look at the entrance to the Roundhouse, how warped and kind of corrupted it looks. But on the straighter sides, where the photos had less detail to process, it does a really remarkable job. You can see that the tree is kind of burned into the side as kind of an after image, but that could be cleaned up by importing it to the PC version and editing it there. So as I was saying, buildings are kind of in this uncomfortable middle ground with 123D Catch. Because they are so detailed, and there's so many different layers, there's trees in front of them, there's pergolas, there's structures, that these details tend to get distorted in the photos. Things like landscapes, however, are so big and the detail is so surface level that landscapes tend to work very well with 123D Catch. And as you can see, as I zoom in here, because I chose the low quality photo option, the textures do look a little muddy. The brick texture, it's decent, but it's not great. Then when you finish your product, you can upload it to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, anything you like, or send the link. The link to this video, or the link to this reconstruction, will be on the Facebook page for the London Roundhouse, so you can have a better look at it there. So let's have a fly-through now of the project. The fly-throughs, unfortunately, can only be created using the PC app, so I had to import that to my PC and then create the fly-through there. The PC app is having a lot of server connection issues, so I find it actually easier to create the model on the web and then import it to the PC as opposed to doing everything on the PC. The server issues seem to be plaguing 123D Catch for the past 6 months, and they're really up and down, and your kind of mileage will vary with this. So instead of doing something like a building, which has so much detail, so many trees blocking the thing, so many objects that will corrupt the geometry, I find it better to when working on a building, to find a single architectural feature that we'd like to model, something that's smaller that you can really get a lot of detail on. And I find that's been a lot more successful when doing the building. Like if you look at the loading docks, like they're horribly corrupted. I mean, it's better than nothing, but for historic purposes, this wouldn't really be a model that you could do a lot of historic work with if you're doing a study or a reconstruction. For something that you just take a few pictures and throw together, I think it's amazing. And as far as accessibility goes, this makes 3D modeling of historic buildings so much easier for people. And as I was saying, look at this smaller object. I just took a corner of the building, something that really shows the foundation, and did a smaller model there. This is about 20 to 30 photos. And this model is so much more detailed, and the accuracy is so much higher, because instead of trying to do something at such a scale with so many things in front of it blocking its view, I could really focus in on the architectural feature that I wanted and produce a very clean 3D reconstruction. If you are trying to model buildings, I would highly recommend picking one attribute and using 123D Catch to do that. That's where I've had the most success.